So the Dallas Mavericks are now 3-2 up against the Los Angeles Clippers, and it's looking like they're going to go and win this series. My prediction before it was Dallas in 6, and I thought that was with Kawhi playing. Without Kawhi playing, this is the first time the Clippers really looked like they were struggling a little bit because PG and Harden didn't play particularly well. But at the same time, Dallas did step up, especially Luka Doncic there in Game 4 or Game 5 to make it a 3-2 series. And I assume Dallas are going to close it out in Game 6. Before we get on, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We upload probably more NBA content than anywhere else. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. But anyway, now let's get on to the video. So Dallas and LA. To start off this game, Luka started off pretty well. Kyrie was very hesitant to even shoot the ball. But Los Angeles were staying in the game through Harden dishing it off to Ivica Zubac, some offensive boards, and Terrence Mann was hitting his shots. PG and Harden both started off terribly in this game. And honestly, you can say they finished off terribly in this game. Harden's one of the funniest playoff performers in recent memory because even last year, Harden can have a game where he looks like he's the best, primary guard in the NBA, like he did in Game 4. He ended that game looking completely unguardable, unstoppable, like prime Harden, and then he goes and has a single-digit game. He's done that for the last couple of years. Brilliant game, awful game, brilliant game, awful game. And he's done that this series. Seems like almost like every second game, Harden has a terrible game. PG obviously didn't really look like PG, and when it came to the Mavs, Kyrie Irving just doesn't seem to like to shoot the ball. Kyrie's unbelievable, by the way. We saw it in Game 4. And then when Kyrie, he'll just every now and again pull off some magic. And the fact that he is capable of doing that, and he can also take over a game when he wants, and when they need him to take over a game, he can take over a game, is one of the most impressive things about Kyrie. That he's fine just facilitating, he's fine not really being on the ball, and then as soon as he just wants to, yeah, I'm going to take over. Luka Doncic, however, finally had a good game this series. He's not right, by the way. He's definitely not right. If you're seeing the way he's moving, I'd want to get this series over with pretty quickly if I'm Dallas. Well, obviously I say pretty quickly, but it's already gone to 6. I want to get it over in the next game. I don't want to risk a Game 7, especially in LA. But at the same time, Luka Doncic is... I'm not as confident about them against the Thunder because he just doesn't look right out there. And it's nothing to do with his conditioning. It's nothing to do with his weight. It's literally a case of, I've watched, again, every Luka playoffs game. He just doesn't look like he's moving as well as he used to. Still can't shoot to save his life at the minute. Luka is shooting so badly from 3 in this series and is still averaging a near 30-point triple-double. The shot is not falling. He scored a couple down the stretch, but in the first half, he missed his first 6 3-pointers. He really was struggling. But from the field, Luka Doncic going to the basket is nearly unguardable. He's shooting pretty well from mid. He's still facilitating well. Hitting Maxi Kleber for a couple of open threes, and Maxi Kleber was lighting it up, hitting 3 threes. Derrick Jones Jr. is hooping. The Dallas Mavericks have a squad. They do have a squad. I do think for them to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, one, Luka has to be better. Luka has to play every single game. Last night needs to be the floor for Luka. Last night needs to be Luka's worst game for him to really have a chance, but I've seen Luka play 100 times better than he did last night, so I think that's possible. I think Kyrie's got to step up, and if there's games where Luka isn't looking like Luka, Kyrie's got to turn back the clock to 2017 and look like LeBron's sidekick, 40 points in the finals, Kyrie Irving, which I think he also has it in him. The Dallas Mavericks role players are finally competent. Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively. Derek Lively was the perfect player to draft. What a draft pick. Even with the all-rookie teams, who gives a damn about stuff like that? He's obviously never going to make the first team with Chet and Victor, but who gives a damn about all-rookie teams when you are the perfect complementary piece for one of the best players, not only in the NBA right now, one of the best players in the history of the sport. Obviously, career-wise, you don't know where you put him already, but Luka is one of the 50 best, peak for peak, 50 best players in the history of the sport. No question about that. Maybe even higher. And then you've got Kyrie Irving, who's only one step below that. Kyrie Irving, peak for peak, is probably top 75, top 100 of all time. You've got two guys at that level. And then you've also got Daniel Gafford, who is basically a very similar player. And if you're having a bad game, Gafford hopefully has a good game, or vice versa. And then Derrick Jones Jr. has stepped up huge for them. I really like this Mavs team. I really like the way it's constructed. And for the first time in Luka Doncic's career, he actually has a good team. It was never a case of Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving were never going to work. It was that last year the team was not equipped to do anything. They were starting Dwight Powell at center, whereas now you're looking at a team that is pretty good around them. I wish Dinwiddie had gone. If Dinwiddie had gone back to Dallas instead of LA, things might be even better. But at the same time, they do have the personnel to be good. You've got Maxi Kleber, who's a good playoff performer. He is a guy that can play the 4, can play the 5, can play defense, and he can get hot. Like, Maxi Kleber is a guy who, I don't think Maxi Kleber's not the best shooter in the world. He can shoot, but he's one of those guys who can get hot very, very quickly. But he's a very solid defender as far as, like, guarding someone. He's obviously one of the worst rim protectors I've ever seen. We saw with Harden just walking through. But he actually can play a little bit of defense, and he can play as a small ball 5 because he's versatile. Thank God the Mavs haven't let him go. Obviously, being from Dirk's hometown kind of helps. But Dallas, I still think these guys are contenders. I still do. Like, a lot of people are saying that Denver are going to lose to Minnesota. I don't think that's going to happen. And I think that if Denver match up to Dallas, I think Denver win. But I also think Dallas beat Minnesota. Just don't ask me why. Don't ask me why I think Dallas will beat Minnesota. I saw what Luka Doncic did to Rudy Gobert a couple of years ago. And I know that you might be saying, oh, but Rudy Gobert won't be guarding Luka. Man, he wasn't guarding Luka for Utah. Like, the way Luka Doncic is going to be able to manipulate matchups, manipulate screens to get him switched on to Gobert quite a lot, I just don't see how they can do it. I could be wrong. I would actually love for the Timberwolves to go make the finals, because my prediction was Timberwolves last year, Western Conference Finals, and I was pro Gobert trade when it happened. But I just think that depending on the way the matchups are, I think the Thunder, if it's Thunder Timberwolves, I think the Timberwolves make the finals. If it's Dallas Timberwolves, I think Dallas make the finals. If it's Dallas Denver, I think Denver make the finals, and I also think Denver beat OKC. So they're kind of my predictions for what is going to happen in the Western Conference Final, in the Western Conference. But at the same time, I think the Dallas have a chance. I think match styles make fights. I genuinely think they have a chance. And like I was saying at the start, the Dallas were going to be the team that I thought were going to win the whole thing. And people call me crazy. And with them going to 6 with a bad Clippers team. But I don't know. I just think, regardless of how many games the series goes, the 08 Boston Celtics were brought to 7 2 rounds in a row. The 2014 Spurs were brought to 7 by a bad Mavs team. Anything can happen in the playoffs. So maybe that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.